All right, guys, y'all looking at the thumbnail, y'all looking at the title of the video, y'all already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Now, guys, listen to me when I say this. Share this video. You understand me? Share this video. I guarantee you the information that you will hear in this video will save men in aggregate billions of dollars. Trust me when I say this. Now, listen. Not too long ago, I invited a very special guest into my Patreon, into my Discord server to have a private conversation, all right? This person is a 20-year divorce attorney and relatively new YouTuber that's making a splash within the scene. Now, I invited him back in there so we could have a in-depth conversation and have some of my Patreon members come back up and ask him specific questions, but an in-depth conversation in regards to manhood, masculinity. We talked about marriage and actually had a very spirited debate regarding marriage, the benefits of marriage. He's actually divorced as a divorce attorney, which is sort of ironic, but really appreciated his thoughts in on that. We talked about some of the controversies that are happening down into the space. It was a fantastic conversation, all right? But one of my Patreon members asked a fantastic question, and I wanted to be able to share this information with all of you. And that question was specific to, if he's considering marriage, how can he protect himself, if at all? You need to listen to the lead attorney's response because I think that it's invaluable information. So without further ado.
So the only advice I could give you would be, speaking to what MTR talks of in terms of the exit strategy, how to get out. Your number one, really your best, and let's just be honest, maybe your only source of protection, which is good enough to be honest, is a prenup. You absolutely need a prenup. Prenups work. Now, what's a prenup? A prenup basically is just a contract, guys. It's just a contract that your attorney should draw up. And if I could just speak to you for 3 or 4 minutes, I can tell you how to get an ironclad prenup. You only need 4 things. It's not like you need a bullet point 17 point list of how to get a bulletproof prenup. It's not true. You only need 4 things. And I'm going to assume you're in the United States. I'm going to assume that. What's the first thing you need? You need an attorney. You really, really need an attorney to draft your prenup. Some of you guys will cheap it out, of course, you know how we can be, and you will try to draft your own prenup. It'll probably get thrown out. I don't know what to tell you. Now, you'll hear in the red pill community that prenups get thrown out all the time. Now, that's not true, but do prenups get thrown out? Have there been prenups thrown out? Absolutely. But you can't stop there. You got to ask why. That's the one question. Whenever you hear anybody in the red pill community say prenups get thrown out, just ask them. Just say, okay, why? They won't be able to answer. Right? Judges don't like them. That's BS. The reason they get thrown out depends on the individual prenup. So Steven Spielberg's prenup got thrown out, right? And he had to pay millions of dollars. People in the red pill community, oh, well, look at Steven Spielberg. Why did his prenup get thrown out? That's what you got to ask, right? Remember? You got to ask why. Oh, well, because he wrote it himself on a napkin. That's right. Your boy Steven Spielberg, he wrote his own prenup on a damn napkin. How is it not going to get thrown out? My prenups are 20 pages, right? So get your prenup drafted by an attorney, and a prenup is a contract. That's like you trying to remove your own spleen and you're a mechanic. Or that's like you trying to fix your own, motor, your own transmission, and you're a dentist, right? Get the person indicated for the job to do the dang job. And it's not like a prenup's going to cost you 15 grand. A great ironclad prenup can cost you 2,500, 3 grand. 3 grand is nothing in a divorce, guys. It's nothing to pay 30 grand in a divorce. So just pay 10% and you don't have to worry about paying the 90%. Now, if you want the gold standard, get your prenup drafted by 2 attorneys, one attorney that represents you and then another attorney to represent your spouse. Why? Because if I get married and then let's say Michelle is my wife, and then she divorces me, what is she going to say? She's, oh, well, the lead attorney had an attorney and his attorney drew up the prenup and then he just gave it to me. But, I've only got a high school education and I didn't read it. I got some college, an associate's degree, and I didn't really read it and I didn't understand it. And it was all these legal terms and all these legalese. Shout out to Hex GP. I was going to make that joke, but I just let it slide. I didn't understand it. So there are some judges that'll be like, hey, the balance of power was too unfair. The lead attorney is an attorney. The lead attorney had an attorney. And Lord Michelle didn't have an attorney. So because of the balance of power, I'm going to throw it out. But if Lauren had gotten her own prenup, her own attorney, what would that attorney have done? The attorney would have negotiated with my attorney. So it would the contents of the prenup would have her interests represented in it. Then Lauren's attorney would have read the prenup to her, page by page, paragraph by paragraph, clause by clause. How does that help you? Well, now Lauren can't come back and say, oh, I never read it. Your attorney read it to you. Oh, I didn't understand it. Your attorney explained it to you. Now she doesn't have a leg to stand on, right? So at least get one attorney to draft your prenup, but get two. That's the gold standard. Attorneys are not going to put in the BS that you guys try to put in that gets your prenups tossed out, right? Some of you guys will say, oh, well, my friend's prenup got thrown out, but you won't ask why. But if you asked why, what would he say? Oh, well, because I wrote it myself and I put in there that, if she cheats on me, then I get custody of the kids. No judge on earth is going to grant that. You can't, there's no title to kids. There's a title to cars. There's a deed to a house. You can't transfer title to kids. Kids are human beings. You can't write in a contract who's going to get title to your kids. Of course it's going to get thrown out. Or you'll say, okay, well, if I decide to divorce my wife, then she can keep the kids, but I don't have to pay any child support. An attorney's not going to put that BS in there. You guys try to be slick. You guys will put in there, oh, my wife can never weigh over 160 pounds. Now she's 180, so she doesn't get anything. Yeah, listen, MTR.
I can't put that one in there.
You can't put it in there.
God damn it. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, what goes in there, right?
Can you put anything in there?
That is exactly right. So get an attorney knows what you can put in there and what you can't. So get one attorney, and the gold standard is to get two attorneys. What's the second thing? Guys, even if you have, let's say you opt for the one attorney. Let's say you opt for me, the lead attorney, and I draft a 20-page prenup and I give it to you, right? And I tell you what to do with it, but you don't listen. So you don't give it to her to sign. You kind of sit there and wait on it. Now, guess what? Now it's the wedding day. You're standing there at the altar. You're outside, beautiful sun. You're out there on the lawn. Your fiance, your bride's parents are there. They flew in from Chicago, right? All the bridesmaids flew in. They all got their matching dresses. They got the shoes. They got the hair, all the makeup, all of the costs associated with that. You got the reception hall waiting for you, all of the food. The flowers alone cost $7,000, right? All the hotel rooms that everybody booked to come in to see your wedding. And you're standing there, the little 6-year-old girl's about to run out with the damn pillow and the rings. And then what do? You whisper to her, hey, baby, listen, sign this 20-page document right quick. And she's standing there. She lifts up her veil like, what? Sign it right quick. What is it? It's the prenup. What do you mean a prenup? The pastor's right here. Just sign it right quick. She's like, I can't sign this. And what do you say? You say, oh, okay, well, if you don't sign it, the wedding's off. You say the wedding's off after you paid $30,000 and her family's there, her friends are there. That's what you guys do. You try to trick them. you try to put pressure on them. Well, guess what's going to happen? She's going to be there. She's going to be crying the mascara, and she's going to sign your damn 20-page prenup. Yeah. But watch what happens in 7 years. Watch what happens in 7 years when she gets it thrown out. And then you're going to lose half your stuff. You're going to be crying to the red pill community talking about prenups don't work. No, I drafted an ironclad prenup. I explained it. What did I tell you to do with it? I told you to give it to her 6 months before your wedding. 6 months before your wedding, give it to her. That way, if you see in 3 months she hasn't signed it, you don't have to go through the rigmarole of putting down more money and outlays. You already know what the deal is. But you didn't do that. You were scared of your woman. So many of you are scared of your own women. And you don't want to ask her straight away about the prenup. You kind of want to force her into it. Well, the judge is going to see that. Men saw Derrick Jackson. Like women didn't see it, men saw it on day one. We all knew he was pandering. Judges are going to see. Judges are going to see you like men see Jerry Jackson. You waited 3 days before the wedding to give her this 20-page document. She didn't have time to get an attorney and she signed it. The judge saw you go in and come in. He's going to throw it out. He can absolutely throw it out, and it'll be your fault because I drafted you an excellent prenup and you ruined it because you were too scared to give it to her when she had time to think about it, when she had time to give it reviewed. So that's the second thing, guys. The gold standard, give it to her 6 months before the wedding. Now, there might be someone in the chat who's going to get married in 4 months. And you say, oh, well, lead attorney, is it too late? No. Get on it, right? I'm just telling you, the closer it gets to the wedding date, the more likely it is to get thrown out. If you can get her to sign in 4 months, you're still good. But, if you start pressing her with, we already put down the deposit on this, we're going to lose the deposit on that. Your parents already paid for the Delta airline tickets into Hartsfield Jackson. Once finances start becoming a decision-making consideration, you're screwed. You're screwed, right? So do not allow her to say, I signed this under duress. Give it to her at least 6 months before the wedding, gold standard. Third, some of you guys, man, you're sneaky. You're sneaky. Listen. In a prenup, you have to list out all of your assets. Some of you are going to put your bank account and you're going to leave out your savings. You're going to leave out your savings account. Some of you are going to put down your checking and your savings, but you're going to fail to mention that retirement thing you got, your little 401k. Some of you got some Bitcoin. Some of you guys you're leaving out your Ethereum. You think your wife doesn't know anything about that wallet. Well, if you leave something out of your financial disclosure, Malcolm's breaking it down. Don't even talk about the offshore accounts, right? that Gulf Shore trust that everybody's trying to pile money into. He's exactly right. If you put all your money in that account, that offshore account, put all that money in that blind hidden trust. If it ever comes out, your wife can reopen the divorce and get all of it, not just half, get all of it. The judge can punish you for lying. Absolutely, a judge will throw your prenup out for fraud, right? You were lying. You said that these were all of your assets and they weren't. So guys, and like this and the last one kind of go hand in hand. What's the last one? Now this is kind of where it gets a little squishy, right? But you kind of got to be fair. Some of you guys, you'll want to get married and you'll write in there, okay, well, if we're married 20 years and you divorce me, you leave with $17. You're asking for the judge to be like, okay, you're trying to punish her. You're being punitive. I'm going to throw it out. $17 after 20 years, right? Now, here's the thing. Is it bad that you want to give your wife $17 after 20 years of marriage if she divorces you? Is that bad? That's not bad. The bad part is you deciding to marry her. There's no problem with you only wanting to give a specific woman $17 after 20 years of marriage. That is just a mere reflection on how you feel about this person. You might not like her enough to want to take care of her or to give her half. You don't like her that much. You're kind of looking at her and you've seen some things while y'all were dating. You've seen some things where y'all were engaged where you think, well, if she divorces me after 20 years, she only deserves $17. Fair enough. Stay with her for 20 years. Just don't marry her. Guys, you don't have to get married. Right? No one's forcing you to get married. But if you try to have your cake and eat it too, if you try to marry this woman and then at the same time try to punish her by giving her $17, the judge is going to call you out on it. And the judge can absolutely throw your prenup out. Right. So not to get too deep into prenups, but there's only 4 things, guys. Listen, get it drafted at least by one attorney. Gold standard is 2. All right. Get it drafted by someone competent, reviewed by someone competent. Don't spring it on your wife. Give it to her 6 months before the wedding. Number 3, disclose everything. Disclose the savings account, disclose the pension, disclose the Ethereum. Right. And then number 4, just be somewhat fair, guys. Just be somewhat fair. If you can do that, you will have an ironclad prenup that will hold up every single time.
Hey, TLA, in your time in representing women, do you ask those 4 questions if there's a prenup that she has first?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are times where we try to defeat a prenup, and they're very hard to defeat, especially the prenups the prenups were drafted by women. Sometimes you just got to drafted by an attorney. Sorry, if you're representing a woman, you try it anyway, because it might cost the woman $15,000 to try to defeat the prenup. But if you win, she could get $500,000. So she's risking $15,000 to get $500,000. A woman will do that every time. You see that with Dr. Dre's prenup, right? I think they go to court on his prenup in January. His prenup seems pretty ironclad. Now, he did allegedly rip it up and throw it in the fire and try to say, that's what the woman's trying to say, right? But the prenup said you couldn't do that. The prenup said that if you ripped it up and threw it in the fire, that still doesn't negate the prenup. The prenup said it could only be negated. It could only be revised or modified through another writing. So the woman really didn't have a leg to stand on, but she has to try something, because if the judge rules in her favor, she gets like $1 billion, or she gets $500 million. So she's going to try. And so a lot of times we try, but then sometimes we don't even. Sometimes the women are like, they need the $15,000. Like, they will risk it if they have a good shot, but most of the times you just don't have a good shot. Now, there are times when you come in and you see the prenup and it's like handwritten on manila paper, like that yellow legal paper, and you're like, oh, okay, now we got something. But usually the prenups are drafted. The prenups that I see are usually drafted by attorneys, and so they're hard to get around. Usually we try to negotiate them a little bit. Say, okay, what if we do this? What if we do that? Try to modify it a little bit. But if we can't reach an agreement, the judge is just going to follow the prenup.
Shout out to the lead attorney again for coming through to drop fantastic gems, and as well as bring us all a little bit closer to the truth. I know within the space, there's often a lot of talks regarding prenups and how well they hold up in court. So I'm so appreciative that we have an actual divorce attorney come through and give that information. All right. I know at the end of the day, there's a great deal of y'all that's out there that are either considering marriage or acting like y'all not until you meet someone that is feminine, submissive, attractive, can bring you peace and all of those things like that. Right. So if you decide to do it, that's appropriate information from you that can save the shit out your pockets. It's the anti-fleece methodology. OK, do what you wish with that information. OK, but at least you have it. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Guys, feel free to hit me up. Again, this conversation was specific into my Patreon, my inner circle. If you want a link to the full video, there was so many gems. I'll leave a comment first pin to the top of where you can find it. All right. Until next time, YouTube.